All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Every.Black Mastermind meeting. I am Camille Richardson. I will be your MC for the evening. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to give you a little overview of the meeting, is we are going to first start off by showing a video that talks about the purpose of Every.Black and its inception and why it was founded. And then after that, I will talk a little bit about the purpose of Every.Black and the benefits of joining a mastermind meeting. And then Ms. Deborah Wright will so eloquently and gracefully lead us through our book reading. And then we will have Jimmy do a few announcements, and then we will have our guest speaker. So that's pretty much an overview of how the meeting is going to run. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jimmy, who will do the Every.Black introduction.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan during the 60s, and I remember as a child the civil rights movement. And I remember as family would huddle around this black and white TV and watch all of the things that were going on in Alabama and Mississippi. Some of my cousins, older cousins, were active in the movement, and every Sunday we would have a large Sunday dinner with the extended family. And they would come back on Sundays and they would tell us about all the things they'd seen and done. And as a child, about 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to grow up and be a part of that. But by the time I became of age, it was all over. All of the marching was done. I always felt left out, that I didn't get a chance to participate in the civil rights movement. But little did I know that God had another plan for me as a computer instructor and database developer. We as a people had to overcome slavery and secondly obtain our civil rights, being able to eat in any restaurant or stay in any hotel that we wanted. But the third piece is economic equality. I'm convinced that to achieve economic equality, it has to be through entrepreneurship. And we must use technology and a strategy of global networking. And that's why I created Every.Black, to use my 30 years of experience as a computer instructor and database developer to use technology to promote our members. We do it in a wide variety of ways. Of course, we list them on the website. We list our members in a directory that is downloadable from the website and our podcast, and distribute it at trade shows and other events. We constantly promote our members on social media and weekly email blast. Our social media followers and recipients of our email blast numbers in the tens of thousands. With over 30 podcast shows that air weekly, we reach people around the world, educating them about every aspect of becoming an entrepreneur. Where you can be interviewed on one of our podcasts or join Every.Black and have your own podcast. We have a complete package of services catered specifically for the entrepreneur. And last, we conduct weekly mastermind meetings where we read positive books and learn about entrepreneurship while networking with like-minded individuals. Just go to www.every.black to register for our weekly mastermind meetings. And that's what Every.Black is all about. Whether it's through mastermind meetings, providing the members with more exposure through social media and email blast, interviewing the members on podcast, and even providing them with their own podcast. We also make it very affordable for anyone to join, from a basic listing to a bronze, silver, or gold membership. So visit us at Every.Black. Sign up today. Just go to Every.Black, every.black. No .com, no .net. Just Every.Black. .black is the new .com.
All right, so as you heard, .black is the new .com. So now I'm going to go into the mission of Every.Black. The mission is to assist people to create wealth through entrepreneurship. And we do that through having a membership. And if you have a membership, you are featured in the online directory. And you are also featured on all social media outlets and in the membership, in the email blast. Also educate people through entrepreneurship through the mini podcasts that are hosted on entrepreneurship.black. And also through the weekly mastermind meetings that are hosted every Monday night, right here now on this Zoom conference. So now we're going to talk about the benefits of being a part of a mastermind meeting. One of the benefits is to discover ideas and solutions through brainstorming. So when we all come together, you might have something that you're going through in your business and you're able to talk with other entrepreneurs and people who might have faced the same situation that you have, and you're able to come up with creative solutions to issues you may be having and come up with different ideas to get past the obstacles. You can also tap into the knowledge and skills of others, which is extremely beneficial as an entrepreneur, because you're able to talk to someone about their unique experiences and talk about what they might have gone through. And it also helps you to build confidence if you know somebody who's going through or has been through the same journey of entrepreneurship that you have. It also provides you with accountability. I call that positive peer pressure. You always want to have a praise report whenever you come to these mastermind meetings about something that goes on in your business. The wins, you're able to report your wins whenever you come in here. It allows you to tap into an instant and valuable network. Now, everybody knows at least 250 people. And so when we all join together, our network connects with your network. And then that's thousands of other people who can find out about a product, a service that you are offering. And networking builds referrals. Attending a mastermind meeting also develops a sense of family. You're not alone. Entrepreneurship can feel like you are all by yourself and on an island. So whenever you are a part of these entrepreneurship mastermind meetings, it lets you know that you are not by yourself. You don't walk this path solo. So the specific purpose of mastermind meetings are twofold. As I stated earlier, you're able to network with like-minded people. And we also read positive books, which is very, very important for you as an entrepreneur. And for the past few weeks, we've been reading the S.B. Fuller books, and the S.B. Fuller book. And Miss Deborah Wright has been so gracefully leading us through this reading, and she has been so wonderful doing this. So, Miss Deborah, I'm going to now allow you to have the floor and guide us through our reading.
Great. Good evening, everybody. As many of you know, we've been reading a book on S.B. Fuller, who was a millionaire in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and the 60s. And when we stopped off at the last session last Monday night, we read the fact that S.B. Fuller had just bought commercial space or commercial property that was at first established in 1928, but he actually bought the property in 1963. And he bought the property, and it was called South Center, and it was actually a property that actually created a whole shopping area there in Chicago. And we were told in our last reading that it was America's first integrated department store. And it was one of the largest stores in which Negroes, as is stated here, had been encouraged to advance to important positions or executive positions in marketing and in retailing. So in 1963, once he actually renovated this property, it actually opened doors for many people in the Black community in Chicago. So if there are those of you who actually have the book, I will be starting on page 94 of the book. And at the bottom of the page, it says, with the purchase of South Center, there would be a general rehabilitation of the entire 47th Street shopping center. Fuller's salespeople and employees across the country were able to order merchandise from the department store and have their purchases shipped directly to them or to their local branch office. They could order on credit and make payments to the branch, which would be remitted to the store weekly. For years, the salesmen with Fuller Products Company wore only white shirts, and now they were able to buy them from the Fuller department store. Shoes were a profitable item. Salespeople needed comfortable shoes, and the store carried the best brands. The Fuller Products department store carried most items that could be found at other department stores. Furniture, when bought, could be shipped to nearby areas. The concept had great potential. In fact, it was SB's plan to eventually open similar stores in other communities. He saw it as an opportunity to get into orthodox retail selling. Jimmy, I don't know if people can access or respond to any comments, if they have any comments now.
So I believe they can take themselves off mute.
So I was wondering if anyone had any comments, because Mr. Fuller had been a man who started his company as direct sales, and he had salespeople across the country. And so he actually took a risk in 1963, and he stepped out and he opened his own department store. Any thoughts about that?
I have something to say. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Okay, doke. Well, again, it's what we've been saying the whole while. Mr. Fuller not only, he didn't just stop at one thing, he went the whole 9 yards from, and also had his salespeople wear the clothes that he was selling. So that led to even more sales. He stepped outside of the box in each venture. He didn't just stick with one thing. He took full advantage of the opportunity and made it work. And that's all I have to say.
This is Jimmy Davies. I'm the founder of Every.Black. And one thing we do want to do is, because we get a lot of people calling in from around the country. So please, every time we want to hear your comments, but please state your name and where you're calling from. And that'll help us get to know one another. So thank you.
Oh, excuse me. I'm Jackie Bowens. I'm from Fayetteville, North Kakalaki.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or thoughts? One of the things that comes to mind with me also was that Mr. Fuller, by opening up his own department store, made it much easier for his own salespeople across the country to have the type of uniform or the type of attire that he wanted them to actually wear when they were selling his product. I'm going to go on to page 95, and it says, the 60s were busy with the civil rights movement. Effort to secure equal rights and opportunities for all U.S. citizens continued to claim a major share of public attention. It was also a time of militant protest by Blacks. In many Black communities, drugs, crime, violence, and destruction created a problem for door-to-door selling. The salespeople were reluctant to call on people in their homes, and potential customers were apprehensive about opening their doors. SB had fought against public housing in the early 1940s when the Ida B. Wells homes were built, and lived to see his prediction come true. If you start putting Blacks in government housing, this is a quote from him, if you start putting Blacks in government housing projects, they will end up in the same predicament as the American Indians on reservations, with a loss of initiative and the loss of incentive. Any thoughts about SB's comment? And I'll read it again. If you start putting Blacks in government housing projects, they will end up in the same predicament as the American Indians on reservations, with a loss of initiative and a loss of incentive.
This is Norman Middleton from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'd like to comment.
Yes, sir.
I find it very interesting that he could know this so many years ago, and that I believe that that statement has certainly come to fruition. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, this is Kai. Kai Sanders. I live in Raleigh right now. I just, as I'm listening, I just think of where Chicago is today. That's all I keep thinking of as I'm listening to what SB worked for, and how that is not the Chicago of today, you know. And I don't know, my heart just breaks in that last comment. There couldn't be any truer words. The thing that drives me up the wall the most in the experience that my son and I have had recently is this conversation around affordable housing. Now, price gouging is illegal in every other venue except for in housing. And it drives me crazy that we are always trying to press and beg for something instead of saying, I don't want an affordable house. I want to be able to afford the house that I want. The affordable should be that I'm earning enough money that I can join the mainstream and live like anybody else does in any kind of way. And so, but when you, that exact thing that he speaks on of being in public housing and the loss of initiative and drive, it literally is, when people are on government services, it is living the very least that you could possibly do. Because if you do just a little bit too much, you get kicked off of everything. And I could go on, but that's just, it was prophetic that he said it then. And it's even truer now than it was when he said it, when he originally said it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments before I move on?
This is Pat Jones with Pat Jones Voiceover in Raleigh. And I think that's one of the saddest commentaries of it all, that we lose incentive to do things for ourselves. That has been a part of our history way too long. And, you know, we need to do something about that. But it really is sad. And he was right way back then.
Thank you. In the 60s, many Blacks coming to Chicago were coming to get on relief and live in government housing. The Housing Authority had located all of the projects far west on the south side of Chicago. The system perpetuated itself. It was no longer charity or relief. It became welfare, a way of life. Its plan of operation made it difficult for individuals to become independent of it. The Blacks coming to Chicago in the 40s were looking for opportunities, and these were people Fuller recruited into his organization. I have time for maybe one or two other comments. Any thoughts about that? The fact that Blacks came to Chicago and they were looking for opportunity, but after getting there, many of them ended up living in government housing.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. This is Helena Addison. I'm from New York City. And the thing is that people are always looking, you know, for opportunity, and compared to where you come from, it looks like the American dream, but it turns into a nightmare. And with regard to the loss of initiative, like here in New York City, you know, the public housing has become so dilapidated, yet and still they've parceled off parts of the land to developers now, and they say the only way they can save the government system is by giving parts of the land dedicated to public housing to for-profit developers to develop market and luxury housing. So it's just a sad state that our people are kept in substandard housing, and then they're kind of exploited again, because now you have to look at developers developing luxury housing, yet they can't fix the mold and the broken pipes or provide adequate heat and hot water, just the basics, to the people who've been paying rent all this time. Thank you for your reading.
Thank you. So we will end there, and I agree with the comments that are made that it was somewhat prophetic that even back then, S.B. Fuller basically stated a condition that has been perpetuated throughout the years. Jimmy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, well, thank you, Deborah, for the reading, and thank you all for your comments as well. I just want to remind you too, if you're not speaking, you might want to put yourselves on mute so we don't get any background noise. But also, I just want to thank you all for just figuring out how to get here. This is the first time we're conducting this meeting on Zoom, and so we really appreciate it. I tried to get the word out as best we can, but we need your help in letting people know for the future that we've moved to Zoom from freeconferencecall.com, so we give you a better service. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what Every.Black is. And then we're going to bring on our speaker in a few minutes. But the purpose of Every.Black, again, is to help people achieve wealth through entrepreneurship. And we really try to focus on technology and a strategy of global networking. So when people join our membership or join our site, the first thing we do is we get them listed on the website, which gives them more exposure. They're listed in a directory. The directory is downloadable from the website, and we use it to promote it on social media and email blast. Your announcements, any announcements that you have, once you submit them to us, we can share them with over 6,000 recipients on our email list and another 7,000 on our social media list. We also have a podcast, Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. And so the members actually, at a certain membership level, the members create their own podcast shows. And I was looking the other day, we actually have over 900 shows on the podcast now, after we moved over to the podcast about a year ago. But we've created overall around 1,900 episodes the members have. So if you want to have a particular podcast about what you're doing, your business, then we try to make it easy for you to do that. And then the other thing is that we just launched a few weeks ago the Every.Black calendar, where we list everything going on for the month. And so you can go to Every.Black/calendar for the monthly calendar. And it lists the upcoming speakers, and also it lists some technical training that we started providing for the members every Friday. Now we changed the time from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock beginning this Friday coming, but every Friday at 3 p.m., any members can call in. We're going to be using the same Zoom account, can call in. And we're looking at, for the last few weeks, we've been looking at YouTube Live, using Patreon with YouTube. Next week, we'll look at Facebook Live. We've done some Zoom training, and we're going to be also combining that Facebook Live with Zoom training. And at the end of the month, we're going to be looking at using LinkedIn Live. Basically, we want to provide the technical tools that you may need to help you with your business, especially at this time. And then the last thing I want to mention too is that we realize that, well, now you can see each other, but before you may not know all the other people on the call. But if you go to Every.Black/network and fill out that form, we'll share your information with everyone else that fills out that form on Every.Black/network. So I just wanted to remind you also, just check out the website, Every.Black. All the links for everything that we do is there. I also included some information. The next slide. I also included some information about the COVID that's going on right now, COVID-19. So some resources for that. And there's the calendar I just mentioned. There's the networking, Every.Black/network, where you can go there and submit your information. And then again, Every.Black/COVID-19. And we try to put up any information that we hear about that helps you as far as resources or maybe conducting your business at this time. And then the other thing I wanted to mention too is that we have a special relationship with SMSI out of Winston-Salem. And the founders are Lafayette and Sandra Miller-Jones. They have a column, or Lafayette Jones has a column called the Urban Call Briefs in the OTC Beauty magazine. It's a national publication. And what we're able to do at times, can't guarantee, but if you submit as a member of Every.Black, if you submit your profile, headshot, 300 DPI, nice quality headshot, profile 400 words or less, and some connection somehow as to some connection to the beauty industry. And what we do is we submit them, and those that are approved could be placed in the publication. I think this last month we had Every.Black members Addie Banks and Nevada York that were both in the May issue of OTC Beauty magazine. So what I want to do also, I'm going to take about 5 minutes to talk about something new. We're going to start, It's going to be called the Every.Black Tech Tips. Because what we really want to do is we want to really start focusing on technology because that's basically my background, and we really want to utilize it at this time. So since our speaker tonight is going to be talking about imagination, I thought it'd be a good question to put up is, who do you think the person, or who was the first person to imagine a computer and when? Now, some of you may have heard me tell this before from the old Mastermind meeting. So if you have, don't give away the answer, but does anyone have a guess? Who was the first person to think of a computer, imagine a computer, and when did that happen? Any takers? Okay, well, I'm gonna.
Hey, Jimmy, this
Yes.
is Bondell. I want to take a stab at it.
Sure.
I do not remember the person's name, but I believe it had to do with the textile industry and the loom, using pins to create different types of configurations.
Close. And actually, weaving fabrics was one of some of the first times, and they started using cards or programmable cards to make sure they get the same pattern in weaving. But that's not the person that I'm talking about. This person is considered to be the father of the modern computer. And like I say, each week we're going to give some tech tips. And today I'm just going to give you some basically history. But we're going to also be delving into some things such as reasons to podcast and streaming, and maybe just using some different software packages. But anyway, not to keep you in any further suspense, his name was Charles Babbage. And he was actually born in the late 1700s, died in 1871. And again, you might want to put yourself on mute, whoever that was. But anyway, he imagined, I should say, a computer. He imagined a device that would calculate, or actually he had a couple of devices that's credited to him. The first one he called the difference engine. And the difference engine basically was a calculator. He was trying to come up with something, this was around 1822, I believe. He was trying to come up with something that calculated, did multiplication and division so that you wouldn't have to longhand so he was trying to come up with a machine to do that. And he worked on it for quite a while, but he couldn't get it to work. And so, believe it or not, he abandoned that and then began working on what he called the Analytical Engine, which is basically the concept of a computer. And the idea was he was trying to think of something that calculated, or you put data into that did calculations, stored the calculations so you can come back to it another day, and also print it to paper. So if you think about it, those are the same functions. I think he also is credited with realizing that you needed a binary system. You may hear also computers work on zeros and ones. He came up with the concept that that's the way to go to build this machine to do that. And he called it the Analytical Engine. Now, he worked on this engine for about 10 years. Actually, the British government financed him. And he worked on it for about 10 years. And then they no longer financed his work because they didn't think he was going to go anywhere with it. Now, he died again in 1871. He never got it to work properly. But his concepts were exactly on target as to what was needed to create the modern day computer. And later on, his actual plans were taken in 1991. And based on his plans, they actually created a machine that did exactly what he imagined it could do. So I just thought that story fits in well with our speaker tonight talking about imagination. So anyway, if you can look it up, and you may have also heard of the Babbage computer stores. There's some of the malls, they're around the country. But that's where they came from. So Charles Babbage, he's known as the father of the modern day computer, imagined a computer back in the early 1800s. I just think that's fascinating personally. So I just wanted to share that with you. And like I say, each week we're going to be sharing some information with you about technology on tech tips, Every.Black tech tips. Okay? Anybody, y'all like that? I hope you find it fascinating. So anyway, everybody's quiet. Either I bored you or you're so excited you don't know, you can't speak. So I'm gonna bring on our speaker at this time. Oh, before I do that, is Wheatley on? Wheatley Davis?
Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, hi, everybody. This is Charisma. Hey,
Charisma.
Jimmy.
Well, Charisma, we're in the middle of the meeting right now.
No, I
Hey,
didn't know if you could hear
Charisma.
me.
Hey,
I
Jimmy.
just wanted to say hi. I've never been on one in my entire life. God bless y'all. I'm listening. I'm gonna mute myself. Continue your meeting.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
Jimmy, can you
hi.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Wheatley. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, she just
Good
busts
evening,
right on in there.
everyone.
Go ahead, Wheatley. Go ahead.
Um, I'll be coming from Hebrews 10, verse 23, and it reads, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." So let us not just go back and forth. Oh, God said, oh, but it's not happening. Oh, God said, but why isn't things progressing? Let's stay grounded because, again, he is who promised is faithful. Amen.
Amen. And thank you, Wheatley.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that. Yeah, we try to share a scripture each week because no matter what type of business you're in, we just want to remind, or at least that's just our belief of who's really in control. So at this time, I want to introduce our speaker for the evening. And this Stan Anderson, the title of his talk again is Imagination, What You See is What You Get. Horace Stan Anderson is the founder of the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network. He's a retired federal security inspector for the Department of Homeland Security, former sales manager for Dudley Products, a current distributor with Dudley Products, and is a published poet. During his studies at Long Island and Columbia University, he also had the fortune of coming under the leadership and mentorship of three powerhouses of imagination: Dr. Joe L. Dudley Sr., Dr. Eunice Dudley, and S.B. Fuller, actually the man we've been reading about, one of the first Black African-American multi-millionaire business tycoons in America. So with all that being said, Stan, are you there? I want to turn the floor over to you.
Yes, I am, Jimmy.
Okay, well, thank you.
How's my audio and how's my video looking here?
Sounds good, look good to me.
All right. I don't see myself on the screen, so I can't tell what's going on, but it's all good. It's all good. I just want to make sure my backdrop didn't look too tacky over here. So we're going to be talking about imagination tonight, everyone, and I'm so glad to have this opportunity. In fact, I'm honored to be able to speak with you tonight. First of all, let me make an announcement right now. I'm no expert in psychology, expert on imagination or any of that. I'm just sharing with you what I've learned and some of the things that I've found to be true for myself. So imagination, what you see is what you get. The faculty of forming pictures in our mind, or pictures in our head. That's one of the definitions of imagination. The other one is the ability for the mind to be creative and resourceful. And it's that part of the mind that imagines things. But the first definition I like is really nice. The faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or pictures or concepts of external objects that are not present to our five senses. So in order to really talk about this faculty of imagination that we have, I want to use the word appreciate, but I want us to consider the definitions of appreciation in the way we want to use it tonight. Appreciate is to recognize the full worth of, or to understand or fully grasp the implications of. Now, I feel that we can appreciate that we understand, we're old enough and we can appreciate that we have to work hard at the thing that we want to accomplish. We appreciate that we have to be diligent at it. We can appreciate that we're going to have to make some sacrifices and kind of focus on that thing and make it priority. Put some other things kind of in the back of that thing that we want to really get accomplished. It has to be the thing that we give most of our attention. We can appreciate that, those things. We may not always do them, but we can appreciate that those things are necessary, the value of those things. What I don't think we always have a strong appreciation for is our imagination and how important that really is to us accomplishing anything that we want to accomplish. Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all that there ever will be to know and understand. Napoleon Bonaparte said that imagination rules the world. Napoleon Hill, we all pretty much know him, Think and Grow Rich fame, and so many others, the laws of success, said that all the breaks you need in life wait within your imagination. All the breaks you need in life wait within your imagination, and imagination is the workshop of the mind. Muhammad Ali said that the man who has no imagination has no wings. And he imagined himself in the boxing ring, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. William Blake, now this is the William Blake from back in the 18th century, not the actor William Blake, said that what is now proved was once only imagined. Mark Twain said, you can't depend on your eyes if your imagination is out of focus. I really like that one. Stephen Covey said, live out of your imagination, not out of your history. Stan Anderson says, imagination is greater than reality because imagination creates reality and imagination can change it. Stan Anderson also says that imagination can see further than the eye. So our imagination is very powerful. Wallace D. Wattles says that there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state, this thinking stuff permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. But listen to this. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged, imagined in the thought. We can form things in our thought, and by impressing our thought into this formless substance, cause the things we think about, the things we imagine, to be created. So everybody is talking about imagination. And it may arguably be the most powerful ability that human beings have. And we never lose that ability. All of the greats and all the psychologists and all the doctors and everyone who study this say that we never lose our imagination. But it's like any other muscle. It will become weak, get a little, difficult to really bring to the forefront when we don't use it. But the moment we start exercising it again, we find that it's always there and it doesn't go away. We can go back into our youth. We can go anywhere we want to go in our imagination. And it's important for us to use our imagination along with the other tools that we already appreciate. The imagination is probably number one, because what we see and make ourselves continue to see, we will get. Now, scriptures even speak about this too. Tells us how to govern our thinking, how to govern our imagination. And I believe it's Philippians 4:8 says, let me see if I can bring that up here. Finally, brother, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on, imagine these things. Because it goes on to say that God will keep us in perfect peace when we imagine those things. So this whole point of this talk tonight is about us recognizing that we pay attention to a lot of things. I need to be more diligent. I need to be, I need to procrastinate less. I need to do this, whatever it is. But we need to imagine the success that we want. We need to visualize it. We need to make it part of like our constant prayer. We're told, those of us in Christendom, that we should pray all the time without ceasing. We should use our imagination all the time without ceasing to imagine that we want to accomplish. And we can only imagine in the present tense. And that makes me think of, call those things that are not as though they are. Whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you receive them and you shall receive them. We've got to believe and think in the present tense. We must spend a lot of time in our imagination. Quite often, our imagination is the only place that we're able to truly, truly visualize the success that we haven't yet accomplished. But I want to read you just a little something here on imagination. By conscious effort, you can create it, and this comes from Think Like a Winner by the Dr. Walter Doyle Staples. By conscious effort, you can creatively imagine any event in your mind and every detail, and it automatically becomes a part of your memory file. We can actually create memories that are accepted by our subconscious mind by imagining vividly enough. We should not low play this faculty we have of imagination. We should be thinking about the things that we want to accomplish and visualizing them as already done in our imagination. See ourselves living in that reality. Because everything has two creations. First, the thought, sent through the imagination, and then the thing. So if we're not spending a lot of time imagining what we truly want, we know we got to supply the effort. We know all those things. I'm assuming that we all know we're old enough, we're mature enough to know that those other things must come. But the imagination of those things must come first. We must first see ourselves already accomplishing, being, doing that we desire. If we don't go into our imagination, we have missed the first rung on the ladder. And there's something about this ladder that you can't take the second rung until you have stepped on the first one. So everything is imagination. First the thought, and then the thing. Now, every one of us has accomplished something. Every one of us has been successful at something that we undertook to do. We thought about it. We ran it through our imagination. And what we eventually saw, what we saw then, was what we eventually got. Let me go on. Why is imagination so very, very important? Well, in some ways, we've already said why it is. But one of the primary reasons why it's so important is because of the effect that it has on our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is our more powerful mind. Most of our behaviors as adults, psychologists still can't quite agree on exactly when most of our subconscious formation is taking place to make us the personality that we are, to have the kind of thinking process that we have. Well, everybody has the same thinking process, but to have the type of thoughts that we think, the kind of things that we imagine. Some say that we pretty much got locked in around that time, around 7 years of age, between 7 and 12. But this is the deal. Our subconscious mind is responsible for more than 85% of our behavior. Now that's a wild thing, because what's actually being said there is that thoughts that we are not even aware of, that are at the subconscious level, are causing us to behave 85% of the way that we're behaving. Imagination programs the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind and this whole central nervous system that's wired to our body, this central nervous system makes what we say, we see, and we also feel. When we imagine something and imagine it vividly, at the subconscious and at the central nervous system, the level of central nervous system, the subconscious mind, the central nervous system doesn't know the difference between a real and an imagined event. So all of us should be living in the success that we want to accomplish, should be living in the goal that we want to reach now, not sometime down the road. You know, we may have it in our mind that there's a particular thing we want to accomplish by the end of this year, 2020, or by the end of the year, 2021, or whatever. But we should already be seeing ourselves there in our imagination, because our subconscious mind is going to accept that as real. Here's a study that was done in a high school some years ago. Consider this experiment that was reported in Research Quarterly that studies the effect of mental imaging, imagination, on improving scores in sinking basketball free throws, you know, shots from the free throw line. A class of high school students with similar skills was divided into 3 task groups. One group, group 1, was to practice shooting free throws in a gymnasium for 20 minutes each day for 20 days. The second group, group 2, was told not to practice shooting free throws for 20 days. Don't practice for 20 days. The third group was told to practice shooting free throws in their imagination only for 20 minutes each day for 20 days. They were to imagine shooting a perfect basket every time. Based on the test of the first and the last day, group 1, the one who actually went out and practiced free throws for 20 days, group 1 improved their scores by 24%. Group 2, the group that was told not to practice at all, showed no improvement at all. I'm surprised they didn't go backwards, but they showed no improvement at all. And group 3, listen, group 3 was the group that only practiced in their imagination, increased their free throw average by 23%. Only 1% less than the group that was actually out there practicing every day. Our subconscious mind, through the central nervous system, cannot tell the difference between a real and an imagined event. We need to spend a lot of time in our imagination, but imagining those things that we want to accomplish. And we need to not take it like it's something that I should do only every now and then. This imagination thing is all right. No, we need to spend tremendous time. I know Jimmy imagined creating Every.Black and this whole Every.Black family prior to him actually starting it. The Motivation Readers Mastermind Network was definitely imagined in my mind before it became a real thing. Whatever you've done, you have imagined it before you actually did it. So just about everything that we read in the final analysis is trying to get us to vividly imagine what it is we want to accomplish. then to take action. Let me go on a little further here and just wrap this up. I know I've been speaking for a good little while. I mentioned that we can only imagine in the present tense. This brings a very, very important point, our self-talk. We engage in self-talk at about the rate of 1,500 words a minute. We're always talking to ourselves. The thing that's so critical about about self-talk is that is how we think through our self-talk. But thinking is not necessarily in words only. Our words are verbalized, visualized, and emotionalized. What we say to ourselves, we hear. But we also see, and then we also feel. So to engage in the proper imagination or in proper imaginative faculties, we also must first engage in the proper way of talking to ourselves. So it's very, very important for us to write our goals out. It's very, very important for us to write them down as though I see myself doing so and so and so and so on such and such a date at such and such a time. I see myself being such and such a place. I see myself having accomplished so and so and so. I see the relationship that I've been meaning to develop with, that I'm going to develop with so and so. I'm going to develop that relationship. And we have to imagine these things and not think that imagination is a light thing. Imagination is the heavyweight. Our communication. Well, the experts say that 7% of our communication is verbal, 38% is vocal, but 55% is visual. So when you put it all together like this, and they're primarily talking about audible, communication. When you put it all together, that means 93% of our communication is nonverbal. That also speaks to us individually. 93% of our communication externally is nonverbal. I don't think they've really researched what the percentages are internally. But since we're talking to ourselves and we're seeing what we say, a tremendous amount of what is taking place in our mind are mental images. And we must decide what we want to see. And we must say what we want to see. And there are some specific times that are best for us to use our imaginative process, our imaginative abilities. Just before we go to bed at night, and just when we wake up in the morning. And I know a lot of us may engage in our formal prayers at that time, and that's absolutely wonderful. We should continue to do that, but we should back those up. In fact, our prayers should be infused with imagination. And here's the thing, since our words influence our imagination, and our imagination influences our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind influences our actions, we don't want to use words that we don't want to see in real life. I know some people pray and they, oh, Father, please don't let anything happen to my children. Please don't so and so and so. We're actually seeing an image of something happen to our children. The proper prayer would be, Father, thank you for keeping my children, or please keep my children safe and healthy and protected. But when we say things, oh, Dad, please don't let nothing happen in this while I'm driving this, or don't let anything do so and so, we are visualizing what we say. We can't help it. We verbalize, visualize, and emotionalize. So our imagination is always with us. and we have to determine what we are going to be imagining. Because guess what? What do you think most people are imagining right now in this COVID-19, so to speak, or so they say, environment? That's kind of like a rhetorical question. But those of us, masterminds, are going to decide what we want to see in our mind. And we're going to spend more time imagining what we want to accomplish than we do looking out at what's actually in the world. Scripture says that too, right? You walk by faith, not by sight. And what do you walk in faith in? Faith that there is a higher power that is in charge of all this, and faith in the image that you are imagining, that it will come to pass. What we see in our mind's eye is what we eventually get. It may take time, but what we see is what we get. And it is our responsibility to see our successes before they occur. And when we are doing that, we're already successful. I really don't think success is a destination. I think it's the journey. That's pretty much it for me, Dan.
Well, I want to thank you, Dr. I tell you, you've really made me think about some things. But I want to see if anyone has a question for you. But before that, too, while people are getting their questions together, what about the wrong use of imagination? Do you have any opinion about the wrong use of imagination?
Yeah, I think that it only proves how vivid we actually do have an imagination, because everybody spends some time in the wrong use of imagination. Worry is the wrong use of imagination. Sometimes it might help. Sometimes, we may worry a little bit about a certain thing happening, and it may make us avoid doing that thing because we worry what would happen, the consequence of it. It could have a positive effect, but for the most part, we're supposed to keep our images on what we want and off of what we don't want. So the fear is a wrong use of the imagination. When we're truly imagining that thing that we fear, we are living it. We are seeing it. We are feeling it. And we are telling the subconscious mind, which is responsible for 90% or more of our behavior, that is actually what we want.
Well, let me ask you one more question. Again, we want to open it up though. But do you have any recommendations for people that have trouble or find it difficult to imagine?
Yeah, just start talking to yourself in the way that you want things to happen. Because since our self-talk is verbalized, visualized, and emotionalized, that's what our thinking is. When we're talking to ourselves the proper way, it's easier for us to imagine the proper way. In fact, it's almost impossible for us to imagine well if we're talking to ourselves poorly.
Okay. Like I said, I've really learned a lot, and there's some great comments in the chat area about your talk. People are really enjoying what you had to share tonight. Any other questions anyone has for Stan Anderson this evening? Hope you had time to get your thoughts together and take yourself off mute. No one?
Yes, this is Jackie Bowens from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Someone should imagine a question. Go ahead, Jackie.
Right? They should imagine a question.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I like that.
Does that tie in along with, so you think is what you actually are? Like if you are mad, you can't actually sit there and laugh unless you're kind of like unstable or something like that. If you're mad, it's going to show because you're feeling that. Does that tie into, I might be saying that wrong,
I think I understand the question, Jackie. Yeah, it's all connected. It's all connected. We can fake a smile, we can fake a laugh, but it's what's truly going on in our imagination that counts. And it's what's truly going on in our subconscious mind. It's like there's some people that can look at you and say hello, and everybody say, I don't like you. But hello. You follow me? It's what's truly
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
at the imaginative level. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, we all use this all the time. We can't get away from it. We were born with imagination. We're going to always have one. That imagination is what makes us childlike. Scriptures say that we should become childlike. Children just use their imagination all the time. All the time. And we've got
Along
to
those
think. Yes, Jackie, I'm sorry.
along those lines, when I was also wondering, a lot of times, I know when I was coming up, you sitting there just not really doing anything, and you're supposed to be doing your homework, whatever, and your mom or your dad say, stop daydreaming.
Yes.
That could be really you just imagining, not doing anything in particular, but daydreaming. Does that kind of like kill the spirit of imagination somewhat? Because you hear it so much, stop daydreaming, do something or whatever. And it's actually, in reality, it's actually your imagination working.
I mean, it all depends on the circumstances, but yeah, if that's overused, if that form of verbal expression was overused, that stop daydreaming, your parent or that adult who was supervising you, maybe they knew, you were supposed to be doing something else at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're not really doing anything wrong, but your imagination is overactive, whatever. You're not really on task, but it's really your imagination. But they see it as you're supposed to be doing your homework, you're supposed to be doing your chores or something like that.
Imagination is a wonderful thing. The only problem with imagination is that when we are doing it, but we still need to do it. When we are doing it, but then we don't take any action behind the imagination.
Yeah.
Then we just become daydreamers, or just people building sandcastles or air castles in the sky. We've got to act on the things that we're imagining. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, believe it or not, our hour is up. But what I want to do is we always close with a prayer, and then we always leave the lines open afterwards for anyone that wants to stay on the line or has any additional questions. I think Michelle Hill, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Hey,
Michelle's going to lead us in prayer this evening, but also want to encourage everyone before we do that. I want to encourage everyone to please tell a friend. We've moved over to the Zoom platform because we want to give you a better experience, and it's going to allow us to do some things, and maybe we want to move forward with a better experience. I'll put it that way. So tell everyone we'll be doing this every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and hope to see you next week. So Michelle, would you please go ahead and close us out? But again, we're going to leave the lines open afterwards.
Okay. Lord Jesus, we just thank you for this time. Thank you that we are able to gather like this. And I thank you for Stan's talk. Lord Jesus, I pray that your blessing and your spirit would be upon him, and as he continues his business and continues the Mastermind Readers Network. And God, I just pray that you would expand each of our imaginations. I pray that as we wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night, that we would imagine the right things. We wouldn't imagine doom and gloom, but we would imagine what you have for us. And God, I just pray that you would help us to be warriors, help us to know that you are the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and that we are yours. And I just thank you and praise you, and we glorify your name in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Like I said, we're going to leave the lines open for another hour if anyone has any other questions. Also, take this time to network with one another. I just want to say too, talking about imagination, this is just my opinion. I try to imagine, I do. I imagine where I want Every.Black to be. But then what happens too, even though everything isn't in place where I want it to be yet, just by imagining where I want it to be, then I begin to imagine how to make that so.
Yes.
And so it's like the one thought builds up on the next thought, And sometimes I literally wake up in the middle of the night with the answers to the questions as to how to take that next step. So I didn't know if you had anything to share along those lines, or hope I'm on the right track.
I mean, everything works according to the law of attraction, so we hear.
Yeah.
And I believe, I'm trying to believe it even more and more and more, but whether we believe it or not, it's a law. and it's still going to happen. When we imagine a good thought, through the law of attraction, we attract another good thought. You know, and because the imagination affects our central nervous system by the way it works through the brain. Think about this. What we imagine, what we think, we feel, we actually experience. And I used this before a couple of times on our line. Right now, if a loud explosion were to go on in back of you, this boom, all of a sudden you would shake, it would frighten you, you would check your body out, perspiration would probably be rolling down your back. And one thing you know for sure, your heart rate would have increased tremendously. Your heart rate might have gone from 55, 65, 63 up to 105. Just by hearing that sound, because your body is connected to what's taking place in your mind. So when we imagine something, and we're told that when we imagine it vividly, try to imagine it in as much detail as we can, we are getting our subconscious mind and through our central nervous system to make our body act. And often it does. People with uncontrollable imagination start acting out just about anything that they think. I don't know. I hope that was somewhere in the line of the answer.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Again, does anyone else have any questions? I mean, this is a great topic, and in the chat area, everything is so positive. I mean, it's a great talk, great presentation. So
I do. It's
hi,
my
Kai. Hello, Kai. How's the wisdom, Kai? How's wisdom?
Hey, Kai.
Mastermind Wisdom is doing great.
All right, who's that good-looking brother there? Hey, now.
Hey, there's my guy.
All right.
I would like to say something if everyone can hear me.
We can hear you.
You can? Okay. My name is Rhonda D. Robinson.
Hey, Rhonda.
Where are you,
Hi,
Rhonda?
how is everyone? This is my first time on this group chat.
Where are you, Rhonda?
I am from Ohio, the Midwest. Originally born in Cincinnati. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I am the founder of the Black Expos in Ohio.
Oh,
I am the president and founder of both Columbus Black Expo, which I did back in the 1980s, from 1980 to 1987.
Wow.
Then I went on to produce the Ohio Black Expo, which I did from 1988 to 1994.
That's some imagination.
I tell you. And so we're bringing the Ohio Black Expo back. We were scheduled for Memorial Day weekend. And with the COVID-19, this pandemic that we're all in, all of the outdoor events are canceled. And so I had to think of a way to bring this expo forward. And so my partner, who is very tech conscious and everything, we are having a virtual Ohio Black Expo.
Nice.
So it will be online. We will have everything, small business workshops for Black-owned business owners and those who wish to go into business. One of our major sponsors is Key Bank. I myself have been on the NBC4 affiliate here in Columbus at least twice. Be happy to send that to everyone. And I'd like in your respective areas, if you would please, tune in. Go to OhioBlackExpo.com. You will see a nice fine picture of Rhonda with Governor Celeste back in the day, appearing at Columbus Black Expo, giving me a certificate of some kind.
Okay.
But I would like for you very much to tune in and be a part of it.
Well, Rhonda, I've got to step in here because
Yes,
we
sir.
literally have been talking about that for the last week.
Yeah, Jimmy was talking about the other day.
Every conference has to go virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I want to mention that is that we have been producing content, video and audio content for the last 2 years. We've created up to 1,900 episodes about entrepreneurship. We have a catalog of presenters that are ready to go today with quality content that you can view to see which ones you would like at your conference.
Sure.
But we are looking to present at conferences around the country because we've been doing it for 2 years. Of course, we didn't know the virus is coming, but we've been doing this for the last 2 years, producing all types of content. Some of the hosts,
Donald Trump brought the virus. Let me tell you that right now. So go on.
Stan is one of our hosts, and he's been on one of our shows. But we literally have shows about about networking. We have shows for the Black history of entrepreneurs, shows for youth, shows about insurance. You name it, shows about networking and collaboration. And so what we realized is this is a great opportunity because we already done it. And I want to present to you a catalog of our presenters, and you can decide which ones, if any, you would like to have at your conference.
Sure.
Because again, like we're ready to go today. So can I get your contact information at ohioblackexpo.com?
Yes, ohioblackexpo.com. And my email address for everyone is rdrobinson@ohioblackexpo.com.
Okay, rdrobinson@ohioblackexpo.com.
Correct.
And talked about imagination. I just have to say this. Last year, we've been doing these meetings. We were doing them face-to-face for the last couple of years in the Raleigh-Durham area. And we actually started going virtual just before Christmas, around Thanksgiving time, we started going virtual. Again, we didn't know for the future. So we were doing these things. And so our goal for 2020 was to expand and branch out nationally. And now with the virus, we realize that we are in a prime position today
Yes, you are.
to provide quality content that we've been honing for the last 2 years, to share it with other people around the country, and to, I guess, really to achieve that, what we imagined of going national in 2020, and also sharing quality content. And again, Stan is one of our speakers. We've got 30 more that have been doing the same thing for the last 2 years. So I definitely will be reaching out to you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I hope many of you will be online to see the expo and hear our speakers and participate. By all means, participate in the business workshops that we're going to be having.
Did we get a date for that?
It is May 21st
May 21st.
to the 23rd.
So it's like tomorrow.
Yeah, it feels like it's right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we got some members that can help you out. If you're, fill the gaps, whatever you may need. We'd like to share with you what we can do, and then of course, you decide if we can be of help to you. I think we can.
We pretty much have our speakers lined up for the for Ohio Black Expo right now. That will be taking place this week.
Okay.
But we've had, national speakers like Dick Gregory. We were the first to bring in Earl Graves, who is deceased.
Wow.
To our Salute to Black Business Enterprise Awards reception. We brought in, I forgot his name, but he was the head of the Indiana Black Expo. He is deceased as well. And we gave him an award. We've had, Randall Robinson. We've just had a host of national speakers and celebrities. I myself have been on BET. I was on Tony Brown's Journal on PBS for 3 years in a row with the Black Expo. Just a lot. We've had Dudley Products Company involved in the Black Expo.
Absolutely.
Just a host of different businesses from all over. It's been quite an undertaking, but a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
I just had to share that when you said that, I was like, we literally have been talking about that for the last week. Literally, like the conferences are going to need what we've already got prepared. So thank you.
Have you had an expo in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, there's one that's conducted each December. It's called the
in the wintertime.
Expo. Yeah, in November, December. And a lot of our members have been a part of that. And then there's another one coming up in Atlanta called the Liberated Minds Expo. And it's actually for homeschooling youth, but also for entrepreneurs and homeschooling. And about 3 years ago, I was a vendor at this expo. Excellent job. It's in Atlanta. They had about 1,000 people that were in attendance. Well, just like yourself, they're having to go virtual now. Their date, I think, is June 26th through the 28th, I believe. And I share their information, and some of our members will be speaking at that event as well. So yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
This is Jackie Bowens in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I just like to say, look at what the universe has done. Tonight we had Dr. Stan Anderson talking about imagination, and then Jimmy's talking about what he's done with Every.Black through imagining it, and it's coming into fruition. And here you are on a phone call with what you're doing with your company. All of it's coming together, and you're supporting each other and able to make it through in spite of what's going on now.
Oh yeah. God always makes a way.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Mm-hmm.
And also on another note, Jimmy, isn't there, I think it's virtual now, Ryan is getting ready to have a...
Yes, Ryan's having a leadership, we call it 2020 Vision Reboot. That's going to be this Wednesday and Thursday, actually, from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern. And Ryan Ray, if anyone doesn't know, he's one of the leaders in the Raleigh-Durham area. He's been doing these leadership conferences for quite a while, but this one, of course, like everyone else, is going to be strictly virtual. And I put that information in the email blast that I sent out today. But if anyone did not get it or wants additional information, they can always reach me at Jimmy, Jimmy, at Every.Black. And I'll be glad to share the information about what we do is we use our email blast and our social media to share the information about whatever we hear. And so, Rhonda, even your conference, whether we have presenters there or not, if you give me the information, we'll be glad to share it on our social media and on our email blast.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So,
most definitely.
How did you find out about us, Rhonda?
I have a tendency to stay up at night very late and really wanting to connect with my people across the globe.
Oh, I hear you.
What everybody else is doing. And plus the fact I have relatives in your area. Where they are, I don't know, but I know that on my father's side of the family, they are from the Carolinas. And on my mother's side, from Georgia, from Atlanta, all over Georgia.
Wow.
And then also Florida. And so I just, really want to connect with Black folks, wherever we are.
That's me.
And yes, and from all walks of life.
Yes.
We all need each other. We all need to support one another.
Yes, we do.
And right now, we're all in the same boat, so to speak, with this pandemic, And I have to say that, I don't like really being indoors and being online and this social distancing and not being able to hug my people and all of that. It's
rough.
Different. It's rough. It's really rough.
It's flat out what it is, rough.
You're right. You're ever so right. But I'm adjusting.
I want to mention also, and I should have mentioned this before the end of the official meeting, is that next week we have another great speaker. Sandra Miller-Jones is going to be our speaker for next week. And she's going to be talking about the Affordable Health Care Act and some of the benefits, because a lot of people don't realize, even though there is a enrollment date, to get your health insurance, but during times when you're laid off, and I don't know the specifics, I'm not the expert, but it's my understanding if you've been laid off, no matter what time of the year it is, you can still apply for affordable health care through the Affordable Health Care Act. I think you have 60 days from the time you've been laid off, regardless of whether it's an enrollment period or not. That's my understanding, but she's going to be our speaker to give us all the details and benefits next week. So I want to be sure to tune in for that as well. That's going to be another great speaker. And we've also got our entire month of June is already set. That's coming up on the next calendar. We've already got the entire month of June set for our speakers. So we're really excited. We got some good ones coming up too.
Can I ask a question, please?
Sure, absolutely.
For all of us that are in business, have you looked into I have received my stimulus money on one level, but in terms of your businesses being impacted by COVID-19, have you looked into that?
Yes, actually, we had a couple of speakers on talking specifically about that in two different weeks. And I put some information on our website. If you go to Every.Black/COVID-19, there's some links there as well. But there's two speakers, Michelle Campbell, she's an accountant here that's local. And then we had a lady out of California. Oh, I can't remember her name. I had to look it up. But she also spoke on the same, Ursula Garrett out of California. She also spoke on the same topic, given the details about the monies that are available. The other thing too is that a lot of times, at least in the North Carolina area, don't just look for the federal funds, but there's a lot of local funds available as well. I know in North Carolina, there's some local funds that are available for small businesses, especially for minority-owned businesses.
Yeah.
But yes, we have, but I think it may be time to even do it again. As long as this thing's going on, we want to keep people in the know.
Right.
Hello, Rhonda.
Hello.
I'm Kim.
Hi, Kim. How are you?
We're not all in Carolina. I'm actually your neighbor. I'm in Indiana.
Hey. Okay.
Hey.
Indiana Black Expo. You should be
That's
familiar.
right, Indiana
Yeah.
Black Expo. I
Yeah.
am Jimmy's sister and the new benefits specialist for Every.Black. So
Okay,
we are
great.
moving all the way around the country.
Okay, I'm looking at the resemblance here.
So welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
I used to have hair like that too, believe it or not.
Right.
I did. A long time ago.
I also, for the women, I also want you to know that I'm also the founder of the blackwomensthinktank.com.
Okay.
You can check that out online. We've done a few events in area churches, Black churches, of course, here in Columbus, addressing the mental health and wellness of our women. And we've had some men to attend as well. They've all been very provocative and very interesting. And there is a need to truly get to that holistic measure of health. And with regards to old remedies and things in which our grandmothers did and our mothers and so on, but our sessions have been very, very powerful. I came down with breast cancer about 3 years ago now. Came through that successfully, praise God. And as a result of that, I wanted to bring Black women together to talk about our health and our wellness and the kinds of things in which we need to be about the business of doing. Because as Black women, we have done everything. I mean, everything. And with all of that we have experienced in terms of racism with our men, our children, and so forth, we have to come together to see how we can work together to help each other to combat some of the illnesses that we face. And so it's been very provocative, very, very compelling.
Well, I'd like to extend an invitation to you, let you get, I know you got your hands full now conducting your expo, and we're going to give you the month of June to recuperate. But
well, thank you very much. Just June, already.
Maybe in July, we'd like to hear from you as a speaker, because you've got two topics: the expo. I know there's a story behind that, and then the Black Women's Think Tank. I'm sure there's a story behind that. So correct. So I want to keep in touch. I'm serious. I would like to get you on our schedule, maybe sometime in July or whatever is. When it works out for you. So thank you.
Well, my birthday's in August, which is August the 26th. I will be a stunning 69-year-old then. And
congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. When I started the expo, I think I was 30 years old. Oh my God. Time
You've seen that grow all the way from a baby.
But, I've been very active in my life, and whatever Black folks are doing, I want to find out and be a part of and encourage and be a blessing if I can to others.
I'm sure you'd be quite a blessing. I'm sure you have lots of stories and knowledge to share. So we'd love to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This has been great.
It has
It's
been.
been great.
It definitely has. This just been a powerful night. I mean, we have powerful meetings anyway, but this is just like extra. Everything coming together the way it has. We'll sleep good tonight.
Right.
Stan did a fantastic
Yes,
job.
you did,
Yes,
Stan.
he
Yeah,
did.
I had to congratulate you, brother.
Appreciate
You did
that.
a
We
great
really,
job.
I have
really
a
did.
question for Stan. I wanted to ask him.
Kai.
Mastermind Stan,
Mastermind Kai.
you have, I'm curious because I know that you have done a lot and you've got a lot of things going on now. What is the greatest thing in your mind that you imagined that came to fruition for you?
Can I be honest about that?
Yes, I want you to be.
You might laugh at this, but you know what I imagined? I imagined when I was in high school, and I wasn't imagining I was in high school. I was in high school. myself and a buddy of mine who were in high school, same grade level, saw this beautiful girl walk across the handball court in the neighborhood where we lived, and we were playing basketball. And I saw that girl. I said, man, she is so fine. Right?
Is it that lady that's blushing right now?
That's keeping it real.
Go on.
That's keeping it real.
I'm just being for real now. I think this is the first time I really realized how my imagination works. And I saw her and I asked my friend, I said, who is that? He said, man, that's Doris Figueroa. She goes to school with us. I said, I have never seen that girl in our school before. He said, yeah, man, that's Doris Figueroa. I said, that's going to be my girl. And I saw that. And it came to pass that that's been my wife for 44 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
No wonder you got this thing for imagination. No wonder you
Nobody wanted
playing with this
something a little
imagination.
more different than that. But
Lord have mercy.
You should have started off with that.
Let me ask this. May I ask this? May I
That's
please
Miss Doris
ask
down
this?
there. That's Miss Doris. She's on this call.
yeah, she's on there somewhere. But I mean, that was one thing because I imagine I saw, and she was not easy to get. She was tough.
She made you work for it.
Like
That's
this,
right.
I know that's right. I use my imagination.
Oh, Lord.
I love stories. I love stories.
Yeah. So, but I figure we could all relate to that one, Kai. You know.
Yes, indeed.
But the other thing is, I have on my wall right in front of me. I have photos that I've had up here on my wall now since 2000 and since 1994. And one of the things I have up here that I put up here in September 15th, 1994. This book right here, Think Like a Winner, was the book that inspired me to write this. Stephen Covey inspired me to write my personal mission statement from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Mm-hmm.
But this man, Stephen Covey was the first one that mentioned it. This man was the one that inspired me to finally write one. And it's on the wall now. My purpose in life is to empower millions of people throughout the world to believe in and develop their spiritual, mental, emotional, and financial powers, success. And I will fulfill my purpose by developing and employing the gifts and skills my father has blessed me with. My speaking, writing, and teaching talents, my business, sales, marketing, and communication skills, and my imaginative and effective use and creative use of audio and video productions, and later on added, and social media. I will from this day forward live as a wholesome, inspiring expression of life committed to the edification of humanity. And I wrote that in 1994. And my imagination has been working on something ever since then about how was I going to bring this about. And the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network was conceived probably that same year, but it took me some while before I actually put it together. And it's still just a baby in birth.
Stan, could you let people know what the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network is in case they're not aware?
Well, we actually, I sometimes have a little problem defining what we exactly are, but it's kind of like an online audio book club. I'm the audio book reader, and some of our other masterminds are whenever they want to be the one that does the reading that day. But when we choose a book, we only read motivational, inspirational readings, the type of books that inform us of who we are and what we are capable of achieving. When we take a book, we read that book from cover to cover. For the first 15 minutes on our line, we discuss the book, the portion that we've read that day. The next 15 minutes, we discuss what we just read and how we can implement it. That's what we do Tuesday through Saturday. On Wednesday evening, we have our open mind. And for the most part, we either reviewing what we've read or we're having a guest speaker. And we've had some tremendous guest speakers on our line. Our mastermind, Jimmy being one of them, and so many other wonderful persons that have been our guest speakers on our open mind on Wednesday evening, where our format is pretty much like tonight's format. And we have 1,080 recordings in our archive of guest speakers and just powerful sessions that we've had. But we're here to help people move forward, pursue, first of all, develop their unlimited potential, then courageously pursue their cherished dreams. That's what it's all about, to support their efforts in that.
Well, this is Jackie here in Fayetteville, North Carolina again, and I'm a member of the Motivation Readers Network. I've been now for about a month, and I tell you what, you come away with something every morning. You really do. It might not be a great big something, or it may be a big something, but you want to come away with something to get you thinking, to get you moving, to push forward. And I appreciate it. I really do. I'm glad I know I've become a part of it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you. I'm so glad Jimmy introduced you to our network.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for that, Jimmy.
Sure thing.
We have a few on tonight. Mastermind Alethea is on the call. My wife, Mastermind Doris, is on also. My mother, I don't know if she was able to get on. I don't see her on. Maybe she wasn't able to connect. But and we've had Mastermind Sharon on also. A few that I see that are on. I see a few telephone numbers that I think of from our area, but I don't really recognize.
I think Helena was on here. I think she had spoken earlier.
Oh yeah, Helena was on.
Mastermind Stan.
That's my mother. That's Mastermind Mother Anderson. Hello,
yes, I'm here. I've been here all the time.
Oh yeah,
Mastermind Mother Anderson. How you doing?
Yeah.
Glad to be on.
Mastermind Mother Anderson. If Jimmy doesn't mind, would you please get Jimmy to keep her going? Would you do that?
Yeah.
If it's okay with him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Mother Madison, yes.
Well, first of all, I would just like to say I thank you all very much for tonight. Has been a beautiful night. Everybody, I mean, you just don't know how you have, I don't know, you don't know how you made me feel. Your words were like, what can I say? Nuggets of gold in pitchers of silver, purified several times.
Oh, wow.
And I really appreciate everything that I've heard tonight. I thank you so kindly. Keep her going. My late mother taught me this when I was quite young. I'm 84 now. If you strike a thorn of a rose, keep her going.
Right.
If it hails or if it snows, keep her going. It ain't no use of sitting and whine if the fish ain't on your line. Just bait your hook and keep on trying and keep her going. If the weather kills your crop, keep her going. And if you tumble from the top, keep her going. Supposing you out of every dime, getting broke ain't any crime. Just tell the world you're feeling fine and keep her going. When it seems that all is up, keep her going. Drain the sweetness from the cup and keep her going. See the wild birds on the wing? If you feel like sighing, sing, but keep her going.
Thank you.
I have to say too that
I enjoyed that.
after I was on Stan's call that one Wednesday evening for Open Mind, and I received maybe a week or so later that very poem framed from Mother Anderson, and I appreciate it so much. I told Stan I put it on my dresser, so every time when I get up, I see it's the first thing I see. And I figure if I'm having a rough day, I got to keep it going because I can't tell Mother Anderson that I quit. So I can't stop now. So.
No, keep it going. You're doing a good work, and don't come down. You're doing a good work. Don't come down. All of you are.
Oh. Okay.
boy.
But I appreciate that so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Dan, I just want to say thank you. It's Kim. You know, I love to start my mornings with your motivation readers. It just puts me in the right mood and it gets me going. So
Kim,
thank you,
so
thank you,
much.
thank you.
We're so blessed to have you. Please, thank you. Yes, you're welcome.
This is Camille, and I just wanted to know if that poem has been published, because I'm just like, wow, like I'm seeing people reading it all over the place, like college students, and like I'm just seeing it being recited at all kinds of public forums.
Yeah, we got that gentleman's name. It's on that poem, Jimmy. What's his name?
Let me go get it. I'll be right back.
Because that's beautiful.
It is.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, my grandmother taught that to my mommy before I was born.
Frank L. Stanton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, so it has been, okay.
Frank L. Stanton.
Well, Jimmy, I just have to say also, thank you for providing the after hours or the after party, for lack of a better word. But now it gives everybody a chance to kind of, because like you said earlier, you don't know who all is on the line. And now that we're on Zoom, we can see each other. Well, y'all can see each other. I can't see y'all because I'm totally blind. But anyway, and I also did not realize that the whole time I was talking, my video was not on. I was like, oops. But anyway, thank you for allowing us to have this after hours time, because I do want to know who all is here, and a lot of people who didn't have a chance to talk or comment actually has a chance to say something now. So that is very appreciated.
Okay. Yeah, is there anyone that we haven't heard from? Let us know who you are. What's your name? Where are you?
My name is Tracy. I am located in Connecticut. I just want to say hello. I am an entrepreneur. I have 10 years experience in HR, 10 plus years. And I actually formed my LLC regarding HR consulting 2 years ago. And I'm still building. And I also am the CEO and visionary of Cake Spell Delightful Baking, which I'm also building as we speak. So hearing from like-minded individuals and receiving that motivation is very inspiring, and I thank you.
Well, thank you for calling in, Trace. Is this your first time?
It is.
Okay. Well, we expect to see you next week too, all right? But thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone
Hello.
else? Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Alethea. I'm a member of the Mastermind Network. My brother Stan, Mastermind Stan. I'm from Jamaica, New York. I really am enjoying this program and the motivation that we're receiving, the press forward to do our best in whatever we do. I'm a first timer on the call, so I really appreciate, Jimmy, the efforts that you're producing, and I backing you totally as well as Stand the Man, Mastermind. So I am enjoying what I'm hearing.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Alethea.
Good evening, everyone. This is Rashida from Pennsylvania. How are
Hey.
you?
Hey, Mastermind Rashida.
My son, thank you so much. I have enjoyed it was amazing because I'm coming from work and I'm driving and my Zoom was going back and forth, but believe me, just the imagination have been able to get on the call and get on Zoom was for me a winner. Thank you so much, Mastermind Stan. I really appreciate just belonging to the family. That is like so amazing. That is what I offer. I am part of all what's going on. Everything what's going on, I'm part of it. Thank you so much, Mastermind Jimmy. I am so happy that I belong. Thank you so much.
But Mastermind Rashida, she's a double dipper. She's on Every.Black and she's on the Mastermind Readers Network.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I am so happy that I got so much of both words, and I'm going to take it. As a matter of fact, I'm running with it already. My imagination already took it somewhere else. Thank you.
Great.
Jesus.
I'm
Mastermind.
Oh.
Lord, Lord, we got some feedback.
I think, wait a minute. I know why there's feedback.
The devil is a
Oh,
lie.
you got two computers on this one. Uh-oh.
I'm not sure who that was, but
Oh, that was Mastermind Doris.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was Doris.
What happened? You see, what happened was,
What?
Oh boy.
I started out on the phone, and then I realized that it was a Zoom call. It was something you said, Jimmy, that made me realize, oh, this is a Zoom call, so let me go see if I can get on Zoom. So I came to the computer, had it on, had the speaker off, but was hearing you through the phone.
Okay.
So, and Stan is doing it because there's two of him, so he's doing the same thing.
That's your imagination.
But nevertheless, I'm glad to be here, and it's amazing. You talking about imagination and all the things that are coming out of this whole pandemic, and I have using my imagination. I'm setting up a high school reunion.
Okay.
Using Zoom.
Online.
Because every year we we haven't done one in a while because people live all over the place and what have you, and it was always a one-day thing, and so we turned it into 2 days, but still that's not enough for people to come from so far. And with this year not being able to have one, I decided, since everybody was doing baby showers and funerals and reveals on Zoom, I said, well, why not try a high school reunion? So I don't know how I'm going to do the particulars, and I'm counting. I'm like, okay, we're going to have about, I would say about 100 people. That's about all that we can have anyway. So at the end of the month, we're going to have a high school reunion on Zoom. So, using my imagination.
Well, Mastermind Doris, I have two comments to make about that. Two comments for you. One is, it sounds like there's a business venture in there. Do you know how many high school reunions going to have to go virtual? If you figure it out, you figure it out.
And then that's a podcast.
Put a price on it, and who knows who else going to be needing that.
Exactly.
You have to mini a Zoom birthday party. It can be done.
Yeah,
exactly.
The other question I had for you is, what made you give that guy playing basketball a chance?
I had no idea.
That's love. That cute came into play on that.
And actually, he will tell you, I really didn't give him the time of day until after we got out of high school.
Okay.
Imagination rules the world.
Say what?
Love
Imagination
story.
rules the world.
Imagination rules the world.
I'm saying that is, I love stories. That is so sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Mastermind Jimmy?
Yes.
This is Mastermind Mother Anderson again, please.
Yes.
When I met Doris for the first time in 1972, I was in the hospital, and she came to visit me. And when the nurse was taking care of me, and I heard that voice because she used to call, look like every 5 minutes at the house. I knew the voice, even though I didn't know her. So when the nurse finally finished with me, and she came in, and she introduced herself to me, I said, oh, yeah, I remember that voice. I said, you know what? I said, you are going to be my daughter-in-law. That was 1972.
Wow.
Claimed it.
Beautiful.
And listen,
wow.
Mastermind Jimmy, I want to give this hit to you tonight.
something I want to say here. You ever heard the little poem about the horse sense? Horse sense?
I don't believe
Listen
so.
at this. A horse can't pull while kicking. This fact I merely mention. And he can't kick while pulling, which is my chief contention. Let's imitate the good old horse and lead a life that's fitting. Just pull an honest load and then there'll be no time for kicking.
Wow.
Like that.
Hey, boy,
Like
you
that,
always
Mother.
messed up, boy, I tell you. I don't know
We
where
need to
she
bring
comes
Mother.
from
We
with
need to bring Mastermind Mother Anderson on and let her do a presentation.
Absolutely.
She did a segment for us on our open mind one night, and she took us back to back in the good old days, and it was a nice presentation.
Well, that sounds like
So
part 2 is on the
beautiful.
way.
Yeah, I think that might have been a bad idea. Yeah.
Mhm.
And listen, I thoroughly enjoyed our call tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
It
sir.
was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Wonderful,
To
wonderful.
be organizing another night of inspiration on the
Yes.
Motivation Readers Mastermind Network. So I'll definitely keep you all informed, and I want you to come and do whatever you want to do on that night to inspire us. Say a Bible verse, sing a song, recite a poem, play a piece on your piano, do whatever you can. It's a night of entertainment and inspiration. We're going to do that again real soon, so I'll let you know when that's going to be.
I have to say, I just really appreciate the openness, the genuineness in the conversation and in the forum, and the aspect of the spirituality that is offered. Many times individuals try to separate the spirituality from business, and to close with prayer is very, very powerful. I have an apostolic belief, and as you were speaking about imagination, Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7 popped in, where he said, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." And I hold on to that, to purify our heart, to purify our mind, and to remember that we're set here for a purpose, and that we should be working our gift at all times. And you know, in the moment that we begin to be like Peter and be persuaded by the waves, and versus keeping our eyes on the pathway of God and Jesus, that we stay focused and we reset our minds.
Beautiful.
Amen. Amen.
Beautiful.
You said it all. You said you hit the nail on the head.
So we can close up with that.
That'll preach.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
actually, we keep the lines open for an hour, and the hour is about up. So any last
Whoa, really?
calls? Yeah, just about.
Oh, that flew by.
About 10 minutes.
I know.
Well, I'll say good night to you all, and I love you all very much. And if any time that I can be of any help, just let me know.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good night.
Thank you and good night.
I call her Master Mommy. That's Master Mommy.
I love that. Master Mommy.
Is there anyone on the line that have we heard from everybody? I want to give everybody a chance. Is there anyone that?
Well, I haven't said exactly what my company is. I'm Camille Richardson. I was the MC. Well, am the MC usually. And I am the founder and CEO of Blind Girl Vision, and that is my motivational company where I empower people. I do motivational speaking. I encourage people to live their best life in spite of their circumstances. And the reason why I call it Blind Girl Vision is because I am totally blind, but yet I still have vision. And also, I just founded another company called IC Technologies, where I train people who are blind how to use their iPhones and iPads and computers and such. And I've actually had to go virtual now. So I'm doing virtual training for people who are blind and visually impaired. Teach them how to use their apps and such, especially shopping apps now, because that's very important. So those are the two things that I do.
You know, I want to say something about Camille too, because when we were meeting in Raleigh, you know, our physical meetings before we went strictly virtual, and one of the things we were doing at the end of last year, I said we're going to form some committees to have people, different members, take on different responsibilities. And so I asked a few people, maybe they'd like to be the MC, and I wasn't getting any takers. But Camille came to me and said, I'd like to be the MC. And I said, absolutely. And she has been knocking ball out of the park. She's done a
Thank
great
God.
job.
I try.
So,
I do what I can.
Lord.
she like I said, she volunteered when others were stepping back. She stepped forward and said, "Can I do it? I would like to do it." So I just
God bless
appreciate
her.
Yes.
that.
Amen.
Thank you all. Thank y'all.
That's my baby.
You're so silly. Oh, that's my fiance over there.
That's Kiwan.
Yes, that's Kiwan. So, and thank you, Jimmy, for allowing me the opportunity to be able to do this.
Sure.
And, allowing me to have this platform.
Great job.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing me to speak as well. I truly have enjoyed this.
Well, super.
Well, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you.
Yes, beautiful.
Uh-oh.
Nobody wants to leave.
Then he's like, you ain't got to go, but you got to get up out of here.
The first to say goodbye.
Now, really quickly, I heard that some individuals were from Ohio. Is anyone in the Dayton area?
I'm not far from Dayton. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm originally from Cincinnati.
Okay, okay. I'm just familiar with Dayton. My father was from there.
I do know some folks in Dayton.
Well, he has passed
I see.
for about over 10 years now. So, but his nickname was Focus.
Focus.
Focus. Michael Focus. He was a landscaper and a VA, a veteran, Army veteran. So, yeah.
But
I'm going to say good night to you all, and I will see you all next week. Okay. Same time, same place.
God bless everyone. Have a blessed
night,
night.
everybody. Y'all have a great night and a great tomorrow.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, all.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. I don't want to leave.
If I got to go, I gotta go.
Last woman standing.
So Charisma, you want to say something? Like, Charisma, you just busted into our meeting. You want to say something now?
I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. I am Charisma Jules from Jewels of Wisdom, patreon.com/Every.Black. I'm so sorry. It's the first time I ever been on Zoom, and so I didn't know if my mic was on, because I know you got to mute stuff, so that's why I said something. I know we professional here. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We love
All right.
All right. Well, then with that being said, God bless you all. Tune in to Cliches with Charisma.
All right now.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, Stan.
Hey, Charisma.
Bye. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
Well, before we go, I do want to just say thank you once again, especially to Stan and Jimmy, because the platforms that you guys have had, or that you guys have.
It's okay, sweetheart. Let's go right on.
It's okay.
All right. With your family here. That's right.
You guys have kept me focused. Stan, Mastermind Stan, I never heard your mission statement before, but you are living up to it. And if I'm the only person that tells you that, it is being fulfilled through me.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Kai.
Wow.
Yeah. Jimmy, thank you so much, because you're the one that has opened the door, and this type of environment where you just feel loved and supported and everything like that, it just doesn't happen enough. And so I just see that what the visions that you guys have, I've heard them and I know what they are coming to pass this year. This pandemic is just an opportunity for us to regroup and know a brighter future, the opportunity for a brighter future. And you guys are a huge part of it. And you guys are going to do powerful things to help our Black community heal. I already know that. So I just want to say thank you, because you've been a part of my healing.
Thank you.
Where
Right
can I
now.
find
Look
you at,
alright.
Kia?
Love you, Kai.
Yeah, Kia, we love you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take my camera off. You got me tearing up.
Tell us.
Oh, my Lord.
Why you had to start that, Kai?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's what I'm good at.
Kaya, how can I follow you? Kaya, this is Charisma. How can I follow you? Where are you at? Are you on any social medias?
Actually, the only thing that I'm working on right now is keeping my blog updated. And so my blog is, I'll put it in the chat. It's loveenterprisespresents.com.
Love Enterprises.
Present.
Yeah, it is. It's love is spelled L-U-V. Let me put it in the chat. And I've been working on, because me and my son have been on this journey through the Valley of Homelessness, is what I call it, as research assistants for God. And so it has been a very fascinating and painful and yet beautiful experience. And so we're in the process of coming out on the end of that. And so, but between the Mastermind network and the Every.Black network, it has really kept me just focused and motivated to continue to do to stay focused on what God has having me do, and and it has helped me to keep my mind right in some of the most devastating situations that I've had to experience. There have been times when I've been on the Mastermind call and I couldn't really listen to the call, but just the energy from that call gave me greater power to overcome the situation, the chaos that was going on around me, literally, just because there's so much love and so much positivity that comes through that call with everybody who participates. And so it has really been a gift in some of the most insane situations. So
well, God bless you in your journey.
Thank you. Oh, he does.
Absolutely,
This is about me and him. So, definitely. So I just have to say thank you, because I've been through enough to see that what is needed is what you guys have. And the simple fact that you guys are Black men in the community doing such powerful things in the community, that's what the world needs to see, because it's not very well seen anymore, you know? And so that's why I just say thank you. There's too much negativity around our Black men and stuff like that. And so I sincerely just say thank you so much for being such great examples, and the examples of family, you know, like Mastermind and Stan and Mother Anderson and everybody, and now Miss Kim, you know, like this is beautiful. It's not enough seeing that families coming together, working together can make a difference. And so it's awesome.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We're gonna look you up because you got that name Wisdom. If you got that name Wisdom, that's my name right there. I'm coming for you.
That's the name. That's the name God gave my son, and so I have definitely been Wisdom student. That is my.
Oh, that's your son's name. So that's why it says Kai Wisdom. Okay, wonderful.
And he has definitely been his student. So it's been a Wisdom student in every way. So it's been a beautiful journey. But with that, I do have a 4-year-old that needs to go to bed.
Night, Kai.
I'm going to say good night, and I love you all. And
love you too.
I appreciate you guys. Good night.
Good night.
See you later.
You want to say bye?
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Wisdom. See you, man. Take care. Take care now.
Oh man.
Well, thanks again, Stan. Really appreciate your talk. Great job. Great job. So we recorded this, and so what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, and I'll be sure to get your copy of it as well.
Thank you very much, Jimmy.
Yeah, we had an experience tonight. Nothing but positive.
Glad. It always is. Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Talk to you in the morning, hopefully.
Yes, yes.
Right there.
10,
night,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good night.
Good night.